Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with day 21 of the best of 30 days of sketches with Christy's beautiful life. And here is the sketch. I love the sketch and I'm going to do it again when I have all of my faculties and all of my goodies. This sketch is by Par Victor and yesterday I created this sketch, it was about an hour ago, and it is going to be facing this sketch from day 21. So I wanted to just kind of share that quickly since it has a lot of the same papers or ideas. And I have this picture of me, my best friend, and my daughter, a white matte stack, this green circle that's previously cut out, and I'm just going to use it as a guide to make those circle features. And then I want to use this leaf paper, and I am going to figure out who that's from, I swear. And then I have this recollections paper, two different kinds, and this dark brown will be the background, and then this light brown I'll use for something else. And then I have these two inks, one's a shimmer spray and one is a distress oxide. And I want to bring those in because there's lots and lots of mixed media in the background. And I definitely want to have that beautiful color. So I have all these lovely papers. And then I have these Crafters Square embellishments. And so I'm going to use those in kind of in place of the stars because my Cricut's not on. And so let's see how this goes. So this paper is pretty much identical to the paper I used in yesterday's layout, except it's a dark brown. And of course it's yesterday's was American Crafts and this is Recollections. So, but the picture I'm scrapping today is a lighter picture, like it's not as dark. And so I thought it would work better. So my Creative Memories trimmer, the little mat at the bottom is getting a little yucky, and so the two sides that I trimmed to make this 11 and 3/4 by 11 3/4 made it kind of gicky and gave it like those paper boogies. So I used my Tim Holtz distress tool and I just distressed all the way around, but not really, like I just made it kind of rough and not like jagged, so you can almost not even tell, but it's evenly junked up a little bit. And then I took this little piece that I had left of this Recollections, and I also did the same with that because one part of it was perforated, and I just used the Tim Holtz distresser and just distressed it a little. And the biggest reason I did that is that dark paper is not going to share or show this mixed media as well as this lighter paper, and I didn't want to lose that. So I used bubble wrap and I just put some of the carved pumpkin Tim Holtz Distress Oxide on this bubble wrap and then just lightly put it down so it gives it all those little polka dot speckled spaces. And I really love this technique. I learned this technique from my darling friend Anne-Marie at Scrapbooking with Anne-Marie. And I tried it once. I thought that sounded crazy. I tried it. I loved it. So I keep all of my bubble wrap to use for these things. So I'm just making sure that my carved pumpkin is good and dry because I do not want to add vibrant turquoise Diane Reevely shimmer spray on top of orange if it's not dry, because that would make a god-awful ugly color. I would assume like brown. So I didn't want that. So I put a lot on here because I really, really wanted this massive pop of color. And oh, you all, isn't that gorgeous? And because the orange had dried, it does not turn into brown gooky growtiness. There are two separate colors there, and I love that. So I just repeat that same thing over and over again And all that space in the middle I fill in just in case my picture does not cover that. So I didn't want it to be as saturated as the sketch, but I did want to make sure that it was, taking up about as much space on the page. So if I was using a different kind of mixed media, I wouldn't mind more saturation because I do love this sketch. It's so cool. And I plan on, like I said before, using this again when my Cricut is up and running, when my all my stash is out and everything. Right now, some of it is still packed away. Some of it's in weird places. Things are just everywhere. So I get this circle that I've cut out before to make some who knows what on my Cricut, because I don't cut circles on my own unless I have no choice. And then I get the zig marker, and it's one of those double-sided markers. It's got a fat side and a thin, like, pin side. So I use the fat side to get me started, because that's pretty much what's going on this sketch, is this big fat circular lines. And that could be some kind of a die cut, but I decided to use my pen. And so one part of it I use the marker, and then I use the pen. So it kind of adds a little bit of a different dimension because it's so thin, but it still crosses over in places, and I really do love that difference. So I put the picture down to where it is barely covering the far left of the circles, because in the picture that's covered, and I like that. I like that it's not right in the middle of the circle, but I also want to see as much of that mixed media as I can. So I get that down, and I just put a piece of tape in the middle so I could tuck, but then I remembered all that my embellishments are three-dimensional, so I don't need the corners to be loosed. So I just use these two Creative Crafter square embellishments, and I do not have an issue with mixing gold and silver, especially since there's not anything else on this layout. There's a brown background, and brown kind of lends its ear to gold and silver, so I just go with it. So the first thing I did was put that little love-shaped, the heart with the word love in it, in place of where that big star is. And then there's these cute little triangles that have like a little plus sign in them. And I just end up putting 3 of those down in different places. And I have this one thing that says, it's an arrow, and it says Rebel. And my daughter and I are smiling nicely. My best friend is sticking her tongue out. She also has a shirt on that says, I'm here for the shenanigans. Yep, that sounds about right. Although me and my daughter are just as much into the shenanigans. So I'm looking over this embellishment sheet, and I have 3 of them, but most of the same things are gone. I have 3 skateboards left because nobody around here skateboards. I guess one day I'm just going to tuck it into a layout, and it'll just be there. So I mat that little speech bubble up in the middle of the picture, and I mat that I love you speech bubble that's going in the bottom left corner. And I mat one other thing right down there, I think to the right of the picture. I can't see the whole picture, and in all honesty, I think it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm doing this voiceover in the dark while my dog is snoring, my son is sleeping, and I am exhausted. So I decided to use the same alphas that I used for the other layout, and that's these Sticko foam alphas, and I decided just to title it Yay. And I do take a J that has an attached dot at the top, cut off the curve, and turn it into an exclamation point. And had I known for sure I was going to do that, I might have moved the whole phrase over a smidge, but it's not like it's in my best friend's face. It's right there, but it's not like covering her face. So then, because I wanted to bring those stars in, even though I don't have the big stars like they do in the sketch, I brought these Park Lane gemstones in, and I love these. They're so easy to use. and super flexible. And I mostly put them on the thin lines and just kind of scattered. And then I pull these place and time. These are very interesting. They are almost they're almost like a metal, like they've got a bit of a weight to them, but they're plastic, and they have some kind of acrylic or something on the back of them. So they look like they would have a divot in the back, but they don't. It is flat. They've got like an acrylic or something behind it. So when you adhere it with some Nouveau Deluxe, which I am going to pull out and use here any moment, it will just adhere to your page. Now, I will say, spoiler alert, when I do the up close in the end where I lift it up, that one right there on the right middle slides a bit, but I fix it and let it lay flat to dry. But I pretty much did the up close video part within moments after doing this right here. So, which means I am wrapping up, and that little speech bubble that says blah 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 is over my daughter, which is very fitting. And then the I love you is down there at the bottom. So like I said, this is by Par Victor. And I love this sketch. I really want to do it again with all those stars and fabulousness. So here is the up close. And like I said, I just used a lot of those creative, the Crafter Square embellishments, and just to get that same feel for all the different things. And there goes my little star, just sliding a little bit. I hope you'll go down below to the hashtag, and that will get you to the playlist of all the other people who are hopping along. And I hope you all come back tomorrow for day 22. I promise I'm going to get it together, you all. Have a fantastic day, and happy scrapping.